Alright everybody, in this episode I fixed my Ironhead after it leaves me in the side of the road. This turned out to be a two-part problem. I had a charging system problem and I also had a fuel system problem. I fixed them both in this episode, so hopefully you can watch this and maybe learn something that might help you out on your Ironhead. Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of Dumb Ironhead Shit with Paul. So if you watched my last one, you'll know that my 83 Sportster left me on the side of the road, and I ended up making it far enough to put the bike in a farmer's barn who was very kind to let me do that. That was super nice of him. And the next morning, Tiffany and I showed up with the trailer and towed it to my shop where I started working on it. It was acting like it was running out of fuel, so I drained the fuel out of the tank just to check the quality of the fuel, and it really looked pretty good and pretty clean. I also was having trouble with the bike not wanting to crank. The battery acted like it was dead, and sure enough it was. So once the bike was in the shop and I had a little bit of free time, I started working on it, just trying to eliminate my two problems. One, the bike seemingly running out of fuel and sputtering to a death on the side of the road, and two, my battery not being charged. At this point in time, I haven't come to a conclusion on this. I'm still early in the troubleshooting. But I pulled the battery out and put it on the charger. It seems like it took a charge. My sort of thoughts right now on what's going on is either one, tank venting. I did pull the tank cap off the other day when it kept breaking down on me. It didn't seem like it made a difference, but that's still a possibility. There's still a possibility in my mind of trash in the carburetor or something just internal in the carburetor, but really, these are pretty simple carburetors. And my last thought is that I actually have a generator or a voltage regulator problem going on here, and that I'm losing voltage and I'm losing ignition, not losing fuel. And maybe I've been running this thing on the battery and not even knowing it until it finally became an issue. So I'm going to see if this bike will crank up, and then I'm going to take the voltmeter and put it on it and see if it is indeed charging or not. So obviously, that thing won't even run long enough for me to really check the generator. I had the voltmeter alligator clipped to it. I don't know how long it takes before that generator starts charging or what kind of RPM it needs to be at. I need to do a little research on that, but first I got to get that bike to actually run long enough for me to check it. So I guess I'm going to drop the bowl out of the carburetor again and see if there's some trash in the jets. I don't know. That was with the gas tank cap all the way off too, so I would say that eliminates fuel tank venting. It's not like I just ran this thing up the road and it ran good and then all of a sudden cut out like it was doing. Now it just doesn't want to run at all. So carburetor time, woo! So I dropped the bowl off of this thing, and quelle surprise, there's basically no fuel in it. Now, what I have done is I've verified that the petcock will flow when we open it on the other side and drain the tank out of gas. But what I have not done is verify the flow like up until this point. And I feel like I remember someone at some point in time saying that these plastic inlet filters can give trouble on these Cahen butterfly carbs. I guess I'll probably also drop the needle out of this thing again and check that, but what I might just go ahead and do is reach around the bike and knock the fuel on. The float's all the way down, so I should make a mess here. And see what happens. So obviously I'm getting some fuel flow, and that was promising. So I cut open a Coca-Cola bottle, and in this clip, I'm really just wanting to see, what kind of volume of flow I'm getting. And then I started playing with the float to see how quickly the float shuts the flow of fuel off to the carburetor ball. And it's kind of hard to see from this angle, but it doesn't take me lifting the float up very much before I have restricted or completely stopped the flow of fuel into the ball. Seems like it's flowing pretty good. It filled this Coca-Cola bottle up pretty quickly. However, I did notice, and you might have seen this in that last video clip, that I could take the float and kind of pick it up to cut the fuel off, and I barely had to move it. I bent the float tab. I believe I've got it right. I let it set here with the fuel on, and I know there's at least some fuel in the carburetor because you can twist the throttle and get a squirt out of the accelerator pump discharge nozzle. It doesn't seem like any has come out of the overflow, so I don't think the float is too high. I don't really have any good reason for that float being too low, though. If I had screwed that up when I had this carburetor apart last, it should have been screwed up for a long time. But I guess I'm going to try and start this thing again. Alright, so that was promising. The bike sat here and ran for probably 2 or 3 minutes, screwed the cap back on the tank, and let it run for a couple more minutes. It sounds good. I kind of want to take it up the road, but I'm here at the shop by myself today, so if I break down, Chris can't come and get me, and Tiffany's at work today, which means she can't come and get me, and it's like, I don't know, like 11 o'clock or something. I'm waiting on some parts for my service truck. I'm kind of just screwing around with this. Trying to be somewhat productive in a little bit of downtime here at the shop. So all of my other buddies are at work too, so I'm probably going to wait to test ride this thing till later. And also, I had the alligator clips on the voltmeter hooked up to the thing. Doesn't seem like that generator's charging. It's a Cycle Electric's generator. I'm going to do a little research on that. It looks like it's only a one-wire generator to me. So, off to the magic Google machine. Well, I've got everything a man can need. Beer nuts, my nuts, laptop, fluke meter, and a fucking Ironhead Sportster. So here's where we're at. This is a Cycle Electric, I think this is a DGV 5000 or 500 or something, and then it has their, this is a voltage regulator. If you ohm from here, from your battery terminal to the battery, take all that apart, it's like 7/10 of an ohm. So we've got good continuity and a good connection to the battery. I can't find any blown fuses or tripped circuit breakers. I hope, maybe, my problem is in the voltage regulator. So I'm going to pop this off and see if I can see anything goofed up in there. I can't seem to find a good troubleshooting manual for this voltage regulator. I believe it's actually only like 2 wires inside of that thing, so we'll see what we see. Alright, so this is all apart. This is really simple. This is just a brush generator setup. If you've ever had a Volkswagen Beetle generator apart, this should look pretty similar to you. So you've got your commutator right right there, and then 2 graphite brushes, and they just have a little spring behind them to push them in. This white wire right there coming out of the voltage regulator goes back into there. That's for your field, and then this one comes over and goes to your positive brush. But if we yank our brush plate out, and it's gonna be kind of hard to get this on camera. You look up in there, look right there, kind of on the bottom of the armature of the stator. You see all that black shit? Kind of in between the stator and the field windings. I think this one is shot. Kind of smells bad too. Okay, so I think that's where this one ends. We're gonna use my Harley-Davidson official Miller High Life bottle opener to open a not Miller High Life. My seat disappeared, but my beer didn't. So this is really the important part. I would love to finish this episode out by installing a new generator, but those things are super expensive right now. They're like $500, and I just don't have $500 to spend on a motorcycle. Get your money, man. Like those. I'm hopeful. Yes, I am hopeful for today. Take this music and use it. My new generator arrived, and with the help of some movie magic, I moved the gear and the oil slinger from the old to the new, and then installed it in the bike and cranked it up. And here we are before I start it. 12.53 on the battery at rest. Get her going, and hooray, it's charging. Woohoo! Alright, it is now September the 24th, and the Ironhead broke down on me on September 12th, so everything you guys have seen in this video so far has happened between now and then. And it's a Saturday, and I'm going to ride this back to the shop. This is my buddy and business partner Chris's bike. I think this is a 2000 or 2001 Electra Glide Ultra Classic. Has an 88 cubic inch big twin, and he was nice enough to let me ride it home when I needed a ride last week after the Ironhead broke. So I'm going to bring this back up to the shop so he can get it back and then ride my bike back home. And I thought about doing a video review of this motorcycle, but I don't think anyone really cares enough about that, especially on this channel since it's mostly Sportsters. So Electra Glide Ultra Classic review in 30 seconds, maybe. It's basically a lazy boy recliner on 2 wheels. It's a big bike, it's heavy, you definitely feel it when you're sitting at a stoplight or in slow speed maneuvers, though once you're going down the road, I really don't notice the weight that bad, and it rides really nicely, though I do find this thing to be underpowered. It's also a bit much for me. I would not want a bike this big, and if I wanted to go down the road with, you know, a radio and all of these gauges and a windscreen and speakers and a phone holder and all of that, I would just drive my car. So this isn't really why I like to ride bikes. So that's it. I'm gonna get on this and go to the shop, and hopefully there'll be a cut and you'll see me riding an Ironhead home. Alright, so the Electra Glide's back here at the shop amidst all of our chaos. C15 that we're stripping down to take all of the parts from this C15 to put on that C15 to put back in the truck that this C15 came out of, because this one was wrecked. Blew a head gasket really bad there between 4 and 5, and liners are all pitted on it. Probably can't see that on camera. Water jacket seals on the top of the block are destroyed. So, anywho, I'm rambling about stuff you guys don't care about. My Ironhead's back there, so I'm going to get it out of the shop and ride it home. And I'm pretty happy to be off of that thing. I forgot that bike doesn't idle when it's cold, so you have to ride it for like 10 or 15 minutes before it idles, which is really a pain in the ass to keep that thing running. You know, when you're going slow or coming up to a stop sign or like stopped on a hill, especially for me because I'm so small and that's such a big bike. So that really wasn't a fun trip for the first half. The second half, once it does idle, it's fine. It's just totally manageable bike, but I'm a Sportster guy. So I got on the bike and headed for home, and man, it was so nice to ride my motorcycle. I missed this thing so much, and it was a beautiful morning here in South Carolina. It's like 60 degrees, great weather, super happy. Just felt so nice to ride this after having rode Chris's Electra Glide. I love not having that freaking windshield in front of me. That cowl sucks. I just love my Sportster. What can I say? Feel the wind in your face and on your chest, and it's just you and the road looking out over the handlebars on one of the coolest pieces of machinery man ever made. All right, so I'm back home and the bike ran great. I don't think that motorcycle has ever run that well. It might just be the placebo effect of I haven't rode it in almost 2 weeks and it was broken the last time I rode it and now it ran perfect. So I'm super stoked. I wanted to just keep riding that thing. I probably could have rode all day, but I got some other stuff to do. I might get some time this evening to ride it again, which would be awesome. Stay tuned. I've got some cool content coming up soon. A week from yesterday, so in 6 days, Tiffany and I are planning a trip up to the mountains for a combination our anniversary and her birthday, and we're taking the motorcycle. And in this upcoming week, I'm going to ride my bike every day as a commuter just to make sure all the bugs are worked out of it. So I'm going to do a video about what's it like to commute, you know, on an Ironhead as a daily rider, a 40-year-old bike. Following that, I'll have a second video come out about our trip to the mountains with the bike, which should be super fun. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. If you've made it this far, I really appreciate it. And I hope you enjoy everything I'm doing here on YouTube. I have a lot of fun making these videos. Even though no one's really watching, it doesn't matter. It's just something I do for me. Okay, we'll see you guys on the next one. Bye.